Okay, guys. Hopefully I got everything set up semi-decent tonight. And if you can't tell, you're right. I did some work on my settings and really struggling, guys, with the wing rack. I know this review's about this sparkly guitar, but anytime I make progress, I want to point it out. It is much quieter tonight. I isolated all the power cables from the audio, and I put one USB shielded cable in. It's definitely the USB connection's causing a lot of problems, but it is much quieter than our last stream, so that's progress. First thing I want to do is I want to thank Devastator. He's one of our moderators. And everyone say thank you to the moderators. Those are the people with the little blue shields. This guitar belongs to Devastator. And he sent it directly to me after purchasing it for a review. And we are gonna do some hot rodding to this guitar. But before we get into hot rodding it, we want to look, what do you get for your money? This, believe it or not, I thought this was a far more expensive guitar than it is. This is a very reasonably priced guitar. So before we get too far into it, we want to kind of go over factory specs. And the reason I say factory specs is sometimes we look at these guitars and then we mic it, put our gauges on it, and what the factory says and what we actually get sometimes is different. So right now I have Sweetwater's webpage pulled up. We're going to look at the price of this guitar if you choose to buy one. And we're going to look at what Ibanez specifies that this guitar is. We do a different kind of review here. If you've landed here, this is Music and Gear, and we try to do highly detailed reviews on guitars and products. We don't care if it's a $200 budget instrument or a $2,000 American-made Jackson. Every guitar gets a very thorough review. I'm a firm believer that you work hard for your money, and you need more than someone just banging on it for 10 minutes and telling you it's great. So let's go to Sweetwater right now and let's check out the specs on this guitar and price. So let's scroll up here. I'm going to have to move my mic. Okay, check. All right, I don't know why that's so quiet sounding. So here's the guitar. Retail on the guitar is $449. I was really surprised at that. I really was, guys. I was really past surprised at that price point. For $449 for this guitar, Ibanez makes some really nice guitars at this price point. Now, what they're saying, let's look at what these weights are going for, and we can cross-reference that to the one that we got. 7 pounds 4 ounces, 8 pounds, 7 pounds 10 ounces, 7 pounds 9 ounces, 7 pounds 3 ounces. So it looks like it can go from a very low 7 pound all the way up to 8 pounds. All right, let's go down to our specs. Number of strings is 6. This is a right-handed model. They're saying solid body. It's not saying anything about weight relieved or anything. Usually that would be right in this area. Body shape is a signature Stanley 60. Body material is poplar. Body finish is gloss. They should put gloss with more sparkle. Color, silver sparkle. It has a maple neck, and it is a set neck. They're claiming a 12-inch radius. Fingerboard material is Purple Heart. Inlay, white block. 22 medium frets. Notice they're not saying medium jumbo. So let's get some fret measurements and see what Ibanez is calling a medium fret. This is a 24.75 scale length, very similar to a Gibson. Nut width 1.692. The nut material they've chosen to go with is plastic. This is the Ibanez ABR bridge. This is what they're named for. It's a quick change 2 tailpiece. Infinity R pickup, so this does not have the quantums in it. So I'm really, I'm kind of curious to see what this really sounds like in our demo. I actually like the quantums, so and I've got a lot of guitars with quantums, so I'm curious to see how these infinities hold up. We have 2 volumes. It's a volume for each pickup, and a tone, 3-way toggle switch. They're shipping it with 10 to 46s. Now notice on this one, they're not saying they're Diodaria. So they could or could not be. Most Ibanez's ship with Diodaria. It does not come with the gig bag. Manufacturer part number is PS60 SSL. So there's our specs. Now it's time to actually cross-reference this thing and see what we get. You know, this microphone right here, guys, it's, I don't know what's going on. You know, there it is. You know, I've got a squirrel brain. There we go. I was wondering why that thing wasn't, it was on negative 20 dB. Yeah. I may need to adjust the gain on that one just a little bit. Okay, if you're familiar with the channel, I'd like to go over the general fit and finish first. So let's actually look at the fit and finish. I'm going to unplug it, and I'm going to mute that channel. Okay, this is the Iceman body. Oh, Devastator, we might have an issue. I deliberately did not take this out of the box for a particular reason, but as soon as I grabbed it, I hate to tell you this. Now, before anyone says anything, this guitar did not come in the Ibanez box. It was put in a Fender box. I'm going to say it was well packed, but whatever packaging Ibanez would use, it's going to cradle the guitar. And since that point is there, I would say the box is built and designed for this particular guitar. So it had the Fender pieces in the box. Now, whether or not it was the Ibanez Iceman cradle, because the cradle did fit the guitar. It had a cradle here, well, actually two cradles, and then a back piece. So he may have put the cradle in a fender box, but we do have some tail damage right there.
Devastator wants to know if you can touch that up.
Yeah. It's very glossy, so you're going to see the repair, Devastator. I hate to say that to you, but I'll try my best to get it to blend. I'll try to fade it, fade it in. But there's our first blemish in the guitar. It took a whack. We do have a binding all the way around the guitar. And this is a white binding. And I'm feeling the edge of the binding to the top of the guitar. Not feeling anything bad there. Let's feel the side of the binding. There's a slight misstep right here. That's probably a sanding error. And I feel about the same thing in this area here. There's a little bit of a wave right there. But everywhere else feels really good. And if you know, guys, I am very, very, very picky. I'm going to point out anything I feel that's not perfect. Like through here, this is perfect. All through here, I can feel that's well done. But in these tight corners right here, and a little bit right there, I do feel some sanding errors. Looking at the top, it is extremely sparkly. It's got a lot of sparkle. Blues, greens, reds, oranges, gold. There's a lot going on. The top finish is completely smooth. Looking at it, seeing any buffing errors. I'm looking at it in the light, looking up at the ceiling. I don't see any scratches. It's very even. So I'm trying to find a straight line in the ceiling. And if the clear coat's not right, you'll see a wave in the line. It's mirror-like. Whatever I see up there in the reflection, it's well done. Let's look at the back. So on the back we have a cover plate right here. That's for the three-way switch. There is 3 screws on it. And the fit, it's a nice fit. As far as it fitting even to the guitar, it's sticking up just about a 64th of an inch from the body. And here it's perfectly flush. So it's really, really close. We do have a belly carve right here. I thought that was another ding, but it's just a fuzzball from the packaging. Literally, I took this thing out of the box and tuned it. During the last live stream, I did have it in my hand and kind of tinkered around with it, but I did not play the guitar. So right here, we've got a really tight break. I'm not even going to look at my radius tools because I can tell you this is a 1/16 of an inch. All they've done is broken that edge all the way around the guitar. And feeling it, it feels very consistent. Inside the belly carve, I don't feel anything funny. Basically, I'm looking for a misstep where the DA sander didn't get in here and do this right. This was done on a 5-axis machine. I can tell. I can tell how the swoop how it sweeps in and the radius changes. That's nicely done. And this edge here is very crisp all the way around. So they didn't take the DA in here and make this line. I'm looking at the light, the reflection. I'll try to get it to reflect. Look at how crisp. See how crisp that line is? So if you come in here with a DA sander and you start rolling this over, that crisp line will disappear. See how nice and crisp that is? Those are the things I look for. That's telling me that someone took the time when they were sanding and prepping the body. Looking for glue line joints. Mr. Devastator, I can tell you that this is a two-piece guitar. I can see the seam. Most people would never see that, but I see a ghost line. And it's not a line. When I say a ghost line, it's a reflection difference. It's a break in the reflection. I can see it right through there.
What is a DA sander?
A DA sanders, a lot of people use them in the automobile industry. It's a little round sander. Usually most of the time they're air powered, and they isolate very tightly, and they orbit in a random fashion. It's far superior to like the random orbit sander that you would buy at Lowe's. Most DA sanders, they're professional use. They're the pad on the bottom, they have different squishiness, like how firm they are. If you go back and watch my Ibanez video, I'm using a Festool. That Festool, I have several different pads, some very firm, so it stays completely flat. So as I sand, I don't have to worry about making divots. The softer the pad, you can roll the machine up on its side and it'll cut in. But when you're doing work like this, you want to keep the surface completely flat. So the pad needs to be very firm and hard. DA sanders, you can get all kinds of different pads for. That's why you'll see them in professional furniture making, guitar building, cabinet building, car refinishing. Because when the light hits it, you can see the variation in the finish. So they have to use a very high quality sander.
Is it purple on the back?
It looks black, but it has a hue of something. It could be purple. It is tinted. But the light that I have, my lights are set to 44K. In this light, I'm seeing a little something, but it's kind of hard to tell. It appears to be either a really dark midnight blue. It could be purple, black. Here we got our 4 bolts holding the neck on, and the ferrules are down past the body. And I'm not seeing any chips in this milling.
You got a super chat from Mini Guitar Society.
Oh, thank you, Mini Guitar Society. That's what keeps this channel going. This area through here is completely flat, and I'm not feeling any burrs on the screw heads either. So when they were tightening the neck, they didn't slip and the screwdriver turn and booger up the screws. Feeling those 3 screws, they're good. And I know this is a small plate, but when I hit it, I don't hear it clinking and bouncing and popping. So that one's good. Now this one only has 2 screws. Hear that? I would expect that because it's screwed on both sides. So you can see there's a little movement in the plate. Looking at the fit, it looks tight. But there is quite a bit of bounce in the center, and you can hear it. Okay, moving down our neck. The neck is completely bound. We do have placement dots on the top. Then we have the square inlays on the top of the fretboard. Looking at our frets. The end dressing's fine. So there's no fret sprout. Like I'm pushing pretty hard on it. There's no sharp frets. The fret dressing itself is pretty basic, but they feel nice. Now, the fret condition on the top, this isn't really a polished fret. This is more of like a satin type polishing on the fret. This is the finish that you would get with fret erasers, if that makes sense. So these are not highly polished frets. But the dressing and everything on them, it feels nice. Looking for tooling marks. Yeah, I do see some tooling marks. I see some scratches. Very fine scratches on the frets. And again, guys, I'm being picky. You hand this to somebody else and they go, I don't see any scratches. Yeah, there's a couple little spots here and there. I would say very nice for this price point, if that makes sense. The fret themselves with pulling on the string, they feel very smooth. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can get this dollar finish with a fret eraser. The fret still feels smooth when you pull a string on it. It just doesn't have a polished shine. These frets would look really, really good with just a polishing. And I would say 80% of the little marks that I'm seeing would come out in polishing. There's a couple that might require just a little touch up. That's why I'm saying it's actually pretty good. All right, looking at our headstock, the binding does go all the way around the headstock as well. I'm feeling the edges. Feels good. Now this transition right here, this feels really good. Sometimes that feels a little kooky. That's nice and smooth right there. And this piece of binding is mitered into the bottom of this. On some of the cheaper guitars, you'll actually see this will come up and they'll cut a 45, and it's very strange. So this piece of binding goes all the way across, and then this one tucks in underneath. I can barely see the seam between the two pieces of binding, but I do see it. I do see a little bit of a glue line, and I see a glue line on that side as well. Keep in mind, I can look at a $5,000 Gibson, and to be honest with you, it would probably be worse than this. Gibson has a horrible problem preventing glue lines on their binding, that and overspray. Looking at the tape line on this binding from the back, Gibson, I don't think, could do this good. It's very crisp, very solid. Gibson has a problem right here. This is always a mess in here. This looks really good.
Your video has frozen.
Sorry, guys. Again with the camera. This is my backup camera because I knew my other camera was going to freeze. Again, we're a review channel. I would review Mevo cameras, but I don't think it's worth my time. I'll save everyone 2 hours. Mevo cameras suck. Don't buy them. Save your money. Repeat after me. Mevo cameras suck. Don't buy them. Save your money. That's my Mevo review.
And this one goes gray.
This one goes gray, but it doesn't freeze. Looking at the top nut up here, looking at how the string's set in it. You know, the rule is about a third of the string sticking out, between a half to a third. I think a half is a little too much. This one is within that spec. We'll just have to see how well it's cut. We'll see if the strings pinch and bind. But feeling the nut to the side, it's nicely done. Even though it's plastic, they've taken the time here. And I don't see any scratches. I don't see where sometimes they'll just block this in. It's nice and smooth. It's nicely done. And I did tune the guitar. These are unbranded tuners. Okay. So the only thing I can say with these tuners, I think these tuners, believe it or not, I think they're a little smoother. And they could be the same tuners that are on the RGAs. But they feel a little smoother than the ones on the RGAs. But they suffer from the same thing. Okay. Do you need to replace these tuners? No. I can already tell you, if they're anything like the RGA ones, they're fine. What they suffer from is the gear ratio. So when I was tuning it, these are probably like 15 to 1 or 16 to 1. I don't remember if that was a spec or not, but they're not high ratio. So in other words, if I barely turn this, it makes a difference in my tuner here. Does it make it impossible to tune? No. Most of my guitars are 18 to 1, 20 to 1, 22 to 1. This feels like it's probably a 15 to 1, but they feel butter smooth. It's just the gear ratio itself. So keep that in mind. It doesn't feel like, a bad tuner. Again, we're going to play it, see if they slip. They didn't slip during the little entry demo that I played. And like I said, they feel very smooth. So I would say good job, Ibanez, on the tuners. Looking at our buttons, we do have some very large mushroom buttons right here. That appears to be in the center, and it's tight. And this one back here is kind of underneath this lip here. Maybe that's a balancing issue. I don't know enough about the guitar. But just looking at it, if I was building this guitar from scratch, I wouldn't think about putting the button right there. I would have put it here. But I'm sure there's a reason why it's there. I'm sure if the strap's coming around, maybe it's stabilizing the guitar a little bit. But that's where they chose to put it. Going to the top of the guitar, we're going to start with these pieces here. These are like chrome mirror pieces. There's a protective piece of plastic on it. And this is screwed into the body and tucked underneath this fancy tailpiece. Looking at the balls of the strings, remember it did not say Diodario. All the ball ends are brass. So they are saving a little money, evidently, and not giving you Diodario strings from the factory. So after the demo, remind me to check my fingers. Let's see if they're cheap or just a cheaper string, but still decent. This is an ABR style. So our adjustment screws, the screw head is on this side. Sometimes they're on this side. So it's towards the tailpiece on this guitar to adjust the saddle. Is the saddle reversible? It does not appear to be reversible. And when I say by that, there's an angle in the saddle. So let's say if you move all the way forward with like this, and it needs to come forward some more, and you're backed up here, on some guitars you can reverse the saddle. And that'll give you another 1/16 of an inch of saddle movement. The adjustment screw is on one side of the saddle. So if I spin this saddle around, now the adjustment screw is going to be on the other side, and that's not going to work on the bridge. So these saddles are one direction. You cannot reverse them. So just keep that in mind. There are no screws here to change the angle of this plate, but we do have two posts that are adjustable with this direction, so you can change your rake angle. And there's no screws here for changing the angle of your bridge plate, your ABR piece. There are height adjustment screws. And I know it's got string pressure on it. Okay, let's check our pickups. Let's see if they return to 0. And that's doing a great job. Check the front one. Yeah, they're quite snappy. Look at the pickup rings. This is a flat top guitar, so I'm going to say they're going to be good. Yep, they're down tight, solid to the body. And we do have a small pick guard here. and it feels to be down tight solid to the guitar. And we got a 3-way switch. Now, this switch, I'm kind of curious to see if it says Switchcraft. This is a very solid feeling switch. We review budget guitars here, and a lot of times the 3-way switch, there is a little bit of movement back and forth this way. But some of the budget guitars, it just kind of like flops into position. I mean, you can hear it. I mean, that's... When I go to pop it, it takes a lot of force. You don't have to worry about this switch popping out of position. It feels like a nice switch. Now, we do have 2 volumes and a tone. So I'm going to turn the volume. All 3 of these feel exactly the same. Sometimes there'll be a difference in the tone to the volume. They feel very smooth. I prefer this feel. It's not friction free, okay? So in other words, if you blow on it, it spins. But it's firm enough to where if you're bouncing around and jumping around acting like a lunatic, which you could probably do with this guitar, I mean, I would, you don't have to worry about these falling or moving. It has a very nice feel to it. And you can tell by the bridge, it's right there where it needs to be for your volume, for your bridge pup. Now, of course, this one's back a little further, so you're not going to be pinky grabbing. Unless you get some really long pinkies, you're not going to be changing your bridge. I mean, your neck position pickup. But bridge, yeah, I think you could roll down there real quick and do a quick adjustment with your pinky. And, of course, the tone is in another zip code. But the buttons and the knobs, everything feels nice. And the knobs are not scratching the body. Let's look at the... So they're pretty consistent. This one's a little lower than these two. These two are perfect. This one is setting a little lower than those. But there's still a decent gap. These have at least a 16th. And that's probably 3/64ths on that one. Give or take. Okay, guys. I'm going to say that's our fit and finish and general feel. I am very curious to see what these pickups are doing. So let's plug this thing in and get some pickup readings. Because I have never reviewed a guitar with these particular pickups in. So this will be our first time reviewing a guitar with these pickups. So let's go to 20k ohm. I'm going to turn the volumes all the way up, tone all the way up. I'm going to assume that that is the bridge position. So in the bridge position, we have 12.65 at 20k ohm. Now let's look at the inductance in Henrys. We have 5.90, so that's 6. So that's a fraction under half. So I'm going to say these are stronger magnets with a little less copper on them. That's what I'm seeing as far as the readings. So let's go to our center position. This should be both pickups. 5.56, 20k ohm. Oh, yeah, 20k ohm. Let's check Henrys and inductance. And it's working out to be about the same, 4.46. So it's about a consistent reading. So let's look at our top. Our neck pickup is coming in at 9.92, 20k ohm. And our Henrys, 3.95. So in my philosophy of thinking that the neck is going to be the warmer sounding pickup in this guitar. That one's not, in my book, I'm thinking I'm going to like the neck pickup on the guitar. Although I listened to the bridge sounded fine the first time. So if you're into the geeky stuff, there's our pickup readings. I'm trying to get a system down where I can just go through each little thing. So our next thing, we were looking at the weight on Sweetwater. So my scale does not like the pad, so I have to take that off. So we're going to start in pounds. So let's see what this particular one weighs. And this one's right in the center of what we saw. I think the lightest one was 7 pounds, 3 ounces, and the heaviest one on Sweetwater was 8. This one's coming in at 7 pounds, 6.1 ounces. So let's, for you people on the other side of the pond, that translates to 3,350 grams. I have 2 towels. I don't want to put another mark on the guitar. Devastator he'll put me in timeout and kick me off the channel. He's got that kick button and he's not scared to use it. Okay, let's go to our next step. He said it was a 24.75 scale length. So let's check the neck relief as it was sent from the factory. It's got a little bit of neck relief. I'm going to say 0.5. Maybe 0.6. Now I'm going to say 0.6. So that's just a little bit more than I put in guitars. Everyone's different. Some people like a perfectly straight neck. I've always been one to put a little neck relief in my guitars. I have since started in the last year setting up a guitar perfectly straight. And I think if all the stars align and everything's perfect, I kind of see the benefit of a perfectly straight neck. But if you put a little relief in the neck, especially if you live in an area like I live in, and your neck's moving a little bit, just a little bit, 0.5 millimeters of relief will kind of help that guitar in the in-between months where it's cold, then it gets warm. Like right now, it was really warm today. It's supposed to be 80 one day next week, and that's going to drop back down in the 30s and 40s. So this time of the year, a little added neck relief when the season's changing kind of helps the guitar a little bit. Just something I found. But if you don't mind adjusting truss rods, then set it perfectly straight. So let's start with Imperial today. We're going to check the action height the way Ibanez set the guitar up on the 12th. So this guitar I'm going to say is right at 0.09. If not, it's 0.075. No, yeah. Let me read that again. Now I'm going to say 0.0875, maybe 0.090. So the strings are set relatively high. On our high E, I'm going to say that's dead perfect on 0.070. So that's kind of a peculiar setup. I think that's the most drift I've ever seen in a factory setup between the high E and low E. I'm double checking it. Yeah, I'm going to say that's 0.087, 0.088. Definitely 0.070. So the nerdy guys can double check my math here. Let's look at it in metric. You guys can cross-reference it. I'm usually pretty good at reading gauges. So for those across the pond, I'm going to say 0.2. I'm going to say 2.375. Maybe even 2.4 millimeters. The bottom, I'm going to put it like 1.75. And when you're looking at the gauges, guys, imagine you're looking at your dashboard, okay? And your wife is telling you you're going too slow. And you're looking at your little needle and it's right on 55 because you're looking straight at it. Well, your wife is over here, so when she looks at it, the needle is hitting a different side of the gauge. That's called parallax. So as you're looking at it, the more you can get down even with the gauge, the less parallax it is. So when I say I do my best, I'm trying to account for parallax in the gauge. Okay, now, I think they said that this was a 12-inch radius. So we're going to go right and find our 12.
Have you tested out the SC101 single coils that Fender put in their Squier Vintage modified guitars?
If I have, I'm unaware. We've done some vintage vibes here on reviews, and I actually did the 40th anniversary Squier Strat. If it's the same pickup, I'm a firm believer that the Squier Vintage vibe sounds more like a Fender, a traditional Fender, than a Fender. If you want a 70s, 60s Fender, and you want it to play like that and sound like that, buy a Vintage vibe. It sounds more Fender-ish than a Fender. Not saying anything wrong with the new Fenders, but the Squier Vintage vibes, they've got it down. When it says vintage, it is vintage. So here's my 12. Let's check it in here. And right there, I know that that's really high. See how much playroom's in that gauge? If I'm doing really quick setups, okay, and I want really, low action, I'll put this little StewMac gauge right here, and I'll lower the bridge down to where that string will just touch this gauge. That's a what's called fast way of doing it. Fast and dirty. But it usually gets you a really good result. There's a tremendous, these strings are, the action height set very high from the factory. Looking at our radius over our inlays. The neck sanding looks nice. Remember, we reviewed a guitar last week. The neck underneath the gauge was doing this. I'm not seeing that here. The old saying, guys, you get what you pay for. You spend a little more, you get a little more. So that $220 guitar was a mess on the neck. All kinds of sanding problems. So I'm looking at this gauge going up the neck. It's very consistent, even on the inlays. Yeah, it's definitely a 12-inch radius. So verified 12-inch radius. All right, let's get some measurements because they were a little vague on the site on that. Let's get a measurement across the very top of the neck up here by the nut. We are measuring from one side of the neck to the other. That's 43.31. So this neck's got a little bit of width to it. So if you've got fat fingers, that makes a big difference. I play a lot of 42, 41.8, 86. That's an R2 nut. You don't think 1 millimeter, 1.3 millimeters would make about that much difference in your feel of the guitar? It does. The older I get, the flatter my finger gets, the chunkier it gets on the end. That 1 millimeter will make a difference, guys. It really does. So keep that in mind. If you like thinner necks, this one definitely has a little bit wider neck. So on the 12th, we got 53.11. And this is a 22 fret guitar. So let's check it on the 22nd. We got 56.19. All right, I'm going to loosen the E, and this will also be, we can check the tuners again. So you can see I got that really loose. Really, really loose. So let's get some thicknesses on the neck. So at our first fret, we have 20.33. Up at our 12th, we have 22.34. Okay. Let's put our strings back up. Now let's look and see where the neck starts to get thick. So if we look at the guitar or spin it around this way, it's right there. So 13th, 14th, right between the 14th and 15th fret is where it starts to flare out. Those are our neck specs, guys. So the next thing I want to do is almost as bad as watching paint dry. We want to check the frets on the guitar. The first thing I want to do, I want to put some pressure on this string. I don't want to lose all the tension on the posts. Just put some pressure back on the strings. Yeah, these tuners feel nice. Yeah, they're very smooth. I like that. When I buy a guitar, give me decent tuners. Hard for me to hear without the guitar plugged in, so we're just gonna, well, it would help to plug it in. See, guys, this is why you guys like live reviews. I can hit my headphones against the mic and I can try to tune a guitar even though it's not plugged in. Okay. Fret rocker time. It's as bad as watching paint dry, but this is something that I'm a firm believer in. This is something, I don't know what this guitar is going to test out. I'm pulling for you, Devastator. I'm hoping you got a good one. This is something when you buy an instrument, I'm going to say 70% of the people can't fix. So you want to really get a guitar that the frets are decent on. If you get a guitar and the frets are out of whack, it's never going to play right. You got to set the action up high. You know, you might struggle with that. You know, if you lower the action, it starts buzzing all over the place. I think this is the most important thing when you buy an instrument. And I don't care if it's a $99 Grote or a $5,000 PRS. The frets need to be decent. So let's check this $450 Ibanez and let's see what Devastator got. And I'll try to be semi-entertaining during the process, but sometimes when I talk and I check my frets, I miss things. So I will try my hardest to check these frets properly. And for those channels that are curious, yes, I'm hopping over the strings. And yes, my truss rod and my neck is not perfectly level. Because this tool is so small, it is not going to detect 0.5 millimeters of relief in this neck. And I am not ice skating with my fret tool. When you put your tool on your guitar, you want to rock it back and forth. You need to apply pressure. That's the only way to check a fret. You've got to scoot it and move it as you do it. If you do that, you will find so many more spots that you thought were good that aren't good. So far, I'm pulling for you, Devastator. I know right now he's sweating bullets. He's like, please don't find a bad fret. It's here, buddy. If I find one, we're going to fix it. But I'm pulling for Ibanez. I'm pulling for everyone that buys this guitar, that $450 can buy you a guitar with good frets. It has already done far better than the last 3 guitars we've had on the channel. Now, if I don't find one, I'm going to be highly upset because that makes it better than my RGA. We can't have that. My RGA was actually pretty good. But it up. When I say very, very little, there is a little tiny spot right above the E string on the 10th fret. And that's very, very minute. I'm going to show that to you. You can watch the top of the tool. You're not going to be able to see it. But there is a little spot right there. Would I fix that? Since we're doing all this work, I'll fix it. If it was my guitar, I wouldn't fix it. But since we're going to be polishing frets, I will make sure that it is perfect. That's the kind of guitar tech you want to find. If you're doing all that work and you find a little tiny spot like that, he should go and do something with it. So right here, 12th, 13th fret. Got just a little bit right there. And a little bit more right there. So mid, right above the B, all the way down to the E. It's actually pretty good. 2 spots so far. It's doing really good. And again, guys, if you're not familiar with this channel, we really try to do good reviews here. What is this? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th fret above the E. Yeah, I'm going to call that one. It's just barely rocking, but it is rocking. And it's all the way up to the G, bottom of the G. Saw something flash in the back of my eye. Is that lightning?
It's lightning. There's thunder.
There is thunder. Wow. Got a tropical storm brewing outside, guys. I don't know if you guys saw that flash. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. So this would be the 19th fret. This is the worst one. This one would need to be fixed. So if you can swatch the top of the tool. That one any luthier or any tech would see. And that's going to continue to dead center of the neck. And next fret top just a little bit, but if I slide it down, we're good. We slide it forward, we're good. So we're good. And here's the important part. Right there it disappears, but if I slide forward, it's not there. Right there it's there. Slide to here, it disappears. So that is a high fret. So definitely one fret and one so-so, and then the other two most people wouldn't call. So I found basically, we're just going to call it 4.5. It's actually like 4 spots. All in all, awesome job. $450 guitar. That's really good. We got, like I said, we got one we definitely need to fix. That one's got some rock. But all in all, I'd say it's really good. At this price point guitar, I'd say it's really good. And I know for a fact that the frets were leveled in this guitar. If I look at Leo James and the import guitars, I do not see any crowning marks. When I look down these frets, I can see a break in the fret where the fret was crowned by a crowning file. I can see it. And I can see the tooling mark earlier. I know by looking at these frets, someone at Ibanez put a tool on these frets and leveled them. Okay? With the other guitars, the Leo James that we reviewed last week, there were spots all over the place. And they were they were really bad. This one only has one spot, and that spot is probably as bad as one of the lighter spots on the Leo James. I expect that though. this guitar costs twice the money. Even though it's only $450, it's still twice the money. So I see that as a positive. I'm spending more, I'm getting a better instrument, okay, out of the box. That's what we're looking for, a better instrument out of the box. Okay, what else? We need to look at the electronics, guys, now that we've done the fretwork. So let's see what magical things Ibanez has in here. I'm really curious to see this switch, because like I said, it feels very stable. It's very solid feeling. But that doesn't mean it could be a box switch in here. Could be. Don't know until we open it. So that's telling me it's quite tight. Yep, it's a box switch. This is what I mean by eventually, guys, this is a cheaper switch. Eventually, companies, things are going to change. This is telling me that this is a higher quality box switch. Is it as good as a Switchcraft? By the time we find out, I'll probably be dead. A good switch should last a long time. It really should. You should get 20, 30 years out of it. It should. This is a box switch, but it feels nice. It feels like it's got a solid engagement. So, if you're not a box switch fan, count on replacing the switch. If not, leave it in there and see how much use you get out of it. Put our screws in, and I am using a Japanese industry standard screwdriver. And if you're an old school Honda guy working on Honda motorcycles, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because those guys used to strip all kinds of Phillips screws on the Hondas. So a JSI is Japanese industry standard. All these guitars are using JSI screws. So do yourself a favor and pick up some JSI screwdrivers. You really only need 3 different sizes.
JIS.
This one here is a 550A, so it's a P1X75. That's the thread pitch size. And there is a difference, guys. It's not a Phillips. So let's look at this one. So we do have dime-sized pots. And I am seeing an H, so these are Hong. There's nothing wrong with Hong pots. Hong is a pretty good manufacturer of pots. They did leave plenty of wire in here. So looking at our 2 pickups. For those that want to keep the stock pickups right here, you'll see that the green, is it green and red? Hard for me to get in there to see. Yes, the green and red wire is bonded together. So these do have 4-wire pickups. So if you did want to change the pots and put Barnes push-pull pots in, you could do a push-pull for each pickup. Or you could just put one in and then break both pickups to single coils. So it's be easy to do that. So it says A500, so I'm going to assume that these are 500K pots. Looking at the soldering, Not a big fan of this one ground here on the side. There's a large piece of wire sticking up where they bonded it, and it's just kind of sticking up. Other than that, the rest of them, all of them, have a very nice sheen, even the one that the wire's sticking up on. I think what happened there, when they bonded it, it wasn't quite dry, and they moved their, whatever they were using to hold it down, and the wire come up. So if this is the side of the pot, they put the wire down on it, and before they knew it, and they lifted their tool, the wire went like that, and it's bonded here on the corner. Would that ever cause a problem? Probably not. I'm just pointing it out. But the sheen on these solder joints, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful sheen. And I cannot see what the capacitor is. It has the green little square. It does not have orange drops in it. So that's our electronics cavity. Oh, I guess you guys probably want to see that. Let me pull the wires out. You guys can get a decent view of that. And since we're in there, looking at the step down marks, not seeing any. I don't see any step over marks either. So again, Ibanez does a good job with their machining. Well, I guess that would be Cort. I would say Cort's probably making this guitar for Ibanez. So it looks nice in there. Just one solder joint. So the last thing to check, guys, on our electronics, we got to check our jack. Let's see what our jack connections look like. So this is not the typical import jack. A lot of the import jacks have a nylon spacer. So this does have the fiberglass spacers. Feeling the jack. That's a nice jack. A little skimpy on the solder. Oh, bring that over so you guys can see it. A little skimpy on the solder, but I don't think that would fail. Remember, in here, these wires don't move. But they have chosen not to fish the wire through the hole and bond it. The wire is just laid on top of the metal and then soldered to it. When I do that, I try to push the wire through the hole and lay it and then bond it. Again, would it ever fail? Most likely not. That's just how I chose to do it. That's a nice jack. It's not a cheap jack. All in all, I'm quite impressed. Again, the damage on the bottom of the guitar, that's a pity. You know, I get it. Those guys in the warehouse, they're throwing things around. It gets bumped in the truck. And I've received guitars that have been damaged. But when it happens to you and you're waiting for your guitar and then you get it out and you see the UPS guys dropped it. You know, I get it, guys. It's heartbreaking. And that's what's happened to this guitar. It's taken a drop right here in shipping. That's not Ibanez's fault. That's the shipping people. But all in all, the fit and finish on this guitar, guys, it's really nice. Just a couple little missteps here and right there. Other than that, I don't see where they could really make that many improvements in this guitar as far as the fit and finish. The neck pocket and everything is really tight on the guitar. The binding's done well. The sparkle, this is very hard to do, because if you're not keeping that sparkle in the gun stirred up, you'll get color variations. Looking at this guitar, the sparkle's consistent across the guitar. I'm not seeing more greenish over here or purple over here. I'm not seeing a stripe where the fan pattern. It's nicely done. And the polishing is nicely done on the guitar.
What first got you into working on guitars?
What first got me being poor? Being a musician, you got to learn. Because if you're taking your guitar to a tech, especially if you're out on the road playing, there's nobody. You're a small band, you learn how to work on your own stuff. Because you might be somewhere where you don't know anybody. And you're working for peanuts, like we were. So instead of paying someone to do my mods, I just started doing it. You know, people, if you're handy at doing things and you're creative, working on your guitar, it's not difficult. Believe me, nothing I do on any of these guitars are difficult. Once you're shown how to do it, and you do it 2 or 3 times. Believe me, after you do it the first time, you're going to be so much more at ease to do it the second time. By the time you do it the third time, your confidence level will go way up. If you're mechanically inclined, this is really simple stuff. Just try to watch videos, not just my videos on how to crown frets or level frets or work on, I try to show multiple ways of doing it. Once you find the way that's comfortable for you, or find a channel that explains things in a manner in which you understand. So I try to do that. I try to talk to people, and I try to talk to you, the audience, as I do repairs. That way you can be better informed on what I'm doing with the tool. I don't just show you running the fret file across. I stop and I give you detailed instruction on everything that I do here at the shop. Budget guitars are cheap. Right now, Amazon, $89, you can get a Groat. Buy it, check your frets, start doing basic work. And first thing I would do is get a nice straight edge. That's the very first thing I would do. Get yourself a gauge like this. You can buy a whole starter kit with this tool, some fret for about $50. You get basic tools and just start going. It's just as much fun. We like playing guitar, modding guitars, and working on your guitar and seeing what makes it tick. I guess that's the kind of person I am. What do I get if I change the capacitor? What do I get if am I going to hear the difference if I put a Switchcraft switch in? Do I want a more flat fret, or do I want a pointy fret? Do I want a shiny fret? When you can do that yourself, it makes it easy, because you're like, well, I didn't like that. I don't like my frets like this. I like a shinier fret. Well, shine it up more. Or if you overshine them, take a fret eraser to them. If they're too shiny and you think it's too slick, hit them with a fret eraser. That'll dull them up a little bit, put a little drag in it. Not everyone likes super shiny frets. You got to find what you like. And then if you don't decide to work on your own guitars, the more you like, when you do take it to your tech, you could say, I don't want super shiny frets, but I want them to feel smooth. Okay? That'll tell him not to over polish, to get him maybe a little bit like this or just like this. You know, learn, just like we were talking about the meters, the numbers on the pickups. Does that tell you everything? It doesn't. You know, they're numbers on a meter. So, but pay attention to what you like, and it'll get you in the ballpark, if that makes sense. And that's what this channel does. You know, if you're thinking about purchasing this guitar, I want this review to be the best one on YouTube. As far as the neck radius, what I'm seeing, the pickup output, and the general feel of the guitar. I love the way the neck on this guitar feels. But again, it's a high gloss neck. If you sweat, it may become sticky. So that's up to the buyer. But as guitar players, we should know high gloss necks equal maybe sticky. That's just how the nature of the beast. My job is to try to point out the profile. To me, this is a very thin, comfy neck. It's not like Ibanez Wizard thin, like the really thin ones, but this is a Wizard profile. This is a thinner profile. It's not the thinnest Wizard neck, but it has that feel. I like the feel of the Wizard neck. There's no volute, so your thumb can back right up into the neck right here, and the tuning keys feel nice and smooth. The big thing when I was doing the opening demo, when my arm is right here, the guitar, I didn't think it would feel natural, because I could put my arm right here, I'll take my pick. When I naturally come down, it's actually natural. I thought the guitar would feel like the bridge is pushed forward, but it's actually not. It's in a natural position. And a lot of that is where this cut is. When I put it on my leg, it doesn't feel like the guitar is this way or that way. I don't feel like I'm trying to work with it this way, or I don't feel like when I play an SG, I don't feel like the headstock's out here in China and I'm reaching for it. It feels natural. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, but I'm trying to explain how it feels to me. That way you'll better understand the guitar. If your local store doesn't have this guitar and you order it from Sweetwater, then you're using this review as a basis, okay? Make sure you purchase it at a place that you can return it, okay, if you don't bond with it. And I can honestly tell you, Sweetwater will not make you keep the guitar if you get it and you just don't like it, okay? They'll let you pick something else out. I've done it twice with Sweetwater, you know. Hey, I'm not gelling with this thing. Or I think this is too much money and I found too many flaws in it. Can I send this thing back and pick something else? That was one, and the other one, I just didn't gel with it. So they let me change it. All right, guys, if you haven't already and you like this kind of content, please go down, hit the thumbs up button, and consider subscribing. We try really hard to be the best review channel on YouTube. I used to do very long edited reviews, but I think the live format works. And the reason it works is you're seeing it just as I see it, just like the damage here from shipping. It's an open book. And some people tell by my facial expressions how I'm gelling with the guitar. If I see something that looks out of place, there's nothing hidden, there's no edits. When I do the demo, I'm going to make mistakes, and we're going to hear this guitar through a $350 amp going right into the interface. I'm not plugging it into my rack amp, but I'll be honest with you, this little amplifier sounds almost as good as my $10,000 rack amp. It really does. You know, does it sound as good? No, it doesn't. But we're still using a lesser cost amplifier to demo this guitar. Will it sound better if you have a full rack, amplifier? Sure. you know, if I have to pick, you give me a choice, a budget guitar and a very nice amp, or a very nice guitar and a Gorilla amplifier, I'm taking the budget guitar. Really, your amp makes that much difference. So we're gonna try this.
Kurt said neck dive.
Neck dive. You know, Kurt, it's not really my guitar. Let me see what kind of. We have a. Let me see if Linnell's strap will fit it. They are some really big buttons. Got that one on.
Kurt said don't jump, and Devastator said the strap buttons suck. Just a warning.
So that's telling me I can't jump. Well, Devastator, it's already got a busted bottom, so if it falls off with me jumping, I can fix that too. Okay, I'm going to take my headphones off. You can see it is going down just a little bit. So we're calling this the Kurt test. Back up, and I'm going to shake. So yes, it does have a little bit of neck dive. This strap is smooth, okay? There's no grit to this strap. So if you had a strap that had just a little grit to it, I don't think there would be a problem. But this strap is very slick on the inside. So again, playing the guitar standing up, that's, I don't want to do too much because it's break time if you know the channel. I hear it. I got something. Oh, we muted the channel. Look at me. So here we go. Yep, I got to tune it. So when we come back, guys, we're going to really beat the tar out of this guitar, and we're going to check it and see if the nut's right. Like I said, I haven't really played the guitar, so we got to get the strings in balance. Yep, G string. D. These were the 3 strings that we loosened to check the neck. It's got a nice feel to it. I kind of like it. That's rocking. I like that. That's a player. Certain guitars are players. This is a player. I'm getting ahead of myself. When we come back, we're going to listen to this guitar in clean, crunch, gain, and stupid gain. So please stick around. We got 5-minute intermission. That also allows people to post questions. Do you have a question about this guitar? Something that with the tooling that I have up here, I can answer. So, something that we may have missed in this review. If you're just coming in and you got a question, post it. There's enough people that's watched the whole review that can probably answer that question. If they don't, I'll answer it when we come back for our break. Get yourself a drink, get a sandwich, maybe some snacks at the restroom. When we come back, we're going to listen to this guitar in a bunch of different settings and play some different styles of music through it. See if it's a one-trick pony or if you can actually make it do some other things. All right, guys, 5-minute intermission. Okay, guys, part of the reason, guys, too, I need to turn the mains off. I do have them just barely on. So during the break, I always take the time and kind of go over some of the chat. If you notice, the chat window is behind me. So I really can't see the chat while I'm doing the review. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. This is a different kind of channel. We're doing a guitar review. We do have nights where it's just open chat and I'm paying attention to the chat window and I'm entertaining, talking to each individual person, going over topics. Tonight, we're reviewing the Ibanez PS60. It's a Paul Stanley signature model. It's an Iceman. So it makes it difficult for me to turn around and do that. But I heard, Devastator made a comment that the pickups sound muddy. So it might make a little bit of a difference since I turned off the control room monitors because they do go into these particular mics. So I'm going to move this around. Let me find my pick. Get my headphones. And of course, when you buy one of these guitars, the main thing you want to hear is what does it sound like clean? Everybody wants to know what it sounds like clean. So let's give it a quick tune again. Close enough for a demonstration. All right, everything's wide open. we are in the bridge position. I do hear a little boominess, so when you turn that up, so keep that in mind. The output of the pickup, they do break up a little bit when you strike. Do the exact same thing in the center position. And you can hear the breakup in the pickup. Let's try to decrease that a little bit. It's still there. So basically what I've done, I'm just taking the gain down on the amp. And I'm taking the main up. These are the exact same things you would do at home. Still a little hot. That helped out tremendously. So let's try center position here. That helped out a lot. Let's go up to our neck position. go back down to our bridge position and try it, because it was kind of unfair the way I had the amp set. Big difference. Big difference. Let's just try some basic open chords. Center position. Up to our neck position. And don't forget, guys, we do have two volume knobs, so we can turn the bridge down and up, or take the neck a little bit out. You could do a lot with that. And then you also have the tone, so we could crank up our bridge, take a little bit of our neck out, and then take the sharpness out.
How does it play?
The action on the guitars is kind of high, higher than I'm used to seeing from a factory setup. That being said, the guitar plays nice. So I don't remember what was at. If I was going to do a quick and dirty setup on this, I think we were at like 0.070 on the high E. I would just bring the low E down exactly the same. Quick and dirty, and that would make all the difference in the world. I actually don't think the pickups sound that bad. You just got to get the amp set right for clean. So if you came in beginning, I had the gain too high on the clean channel. But they don't sound bad. I think these pickups on the Ibanez, these are the cheaper pickups versus the Quantums. I believe the Quantums are the next step up. These are a little flatter than the Quantums. I think the Quantums have just a little bit more character. Let's go up to crunch. And I am not going to change the gain. The gain is at 25%. Woo! Wow, we're loud now. And all I'm doing now is turning back the master. Center position. Neck position. Let's give it just a little bit more gain. We are in the crunch channel. Let's go up to 50%. That's our neck position. Now I'm starting to hear a little bit of the muddiness of the pickup. Let's try our center position. It seems to do better with lighter gain in this particular channel. Let's go down to our bridge position. It seems to do better with more of a slap type pick. Okay guys, let's switch it. Let's go up to our lead channel. Center position. Neck position. To me, I don't know what it sounds like to you guys. To me, the crunch and lead's not quite as bad. It's a little muddy. It does better if you attack it hard. Okay. Let's go up to our special channel. Harmonics seem to be pretty natural with it. It's very natural. That's the biggest thing I can get from it. It's natural when I play it. That's what I expect when I'm trying to find something comfortable. I don't want to have to fight the guitar to find the harmonics. I want to be able to sit and I want to be able to play the guitar. And literally, I just started playing the guitar. I want to get my first impressions out, so I didn't play it. So just this demo is the only time I have on it. And it's already become more and more familiar with me. It's not out of my play realm, if that makes sense. The neck feels natural. If I lower the action on this guitar where it should have been from the factory, Guitar plays nice. Hopefully that's some decent sounds. You guys can get some ideas on what to expect. That's the biggest thing I'm taking away from it. The pickups aren't near as articulate, so you can hear. It just doesn't. Maybe we should take the plastic off. I'm not going to say that that's messing them up, but let's just take it off and see. Like, this guy's demoing a guitar and he didn't even take the plastic off the pickups. Alright, plastic's off the pickups. No, they're just not very... This is, I believe, Ibanez's cheapest pickup that they have in their product line. So they're not. I don't feel that they're as good as the Quantums. I think the Quantums are a better sounding pickup. Are they horrible? No, I don't think they're horrible pickups, but they don't have the clarity that the Quantums have. And you got to also keep in mind that this is a signature model, guys. So, let me turn the amp off. When we reviewed the Ibanez Gem, that's a signature model as well. So, X amount of dollars has to go to the artist. So, this guitar is $100 mat price cheaper than the Gem. They're both famous artists, okay? The Gem has the Quantums. This is $100 cheaper, and they put the other pickups in it. What's the, I forget the name of the pickup. Someone can put it in the, we looked at the specs. Hold on. Let's look at that. Spec check.
Blue Mox wants to know if you would play over some tracks you like so he can hear it in a mix.
I don't really have any. I don't really have any tracks to play over. This isn't my full-time job.
They're infinities.
Infinities, yes. These are the Infinity pickups. So I don't think they're as good as the Quantums. I like the Quantums. Not putting anything against these. At this price point, it's $100 cheaper than the Gem. So there's a big difference right there. Okay, a little cheaper. Plus this is a fixed tail. So I think this is spot on at $450, being that it's a signature model. It plays fine. I don't have an issue with it. I think the overall build quality is excellent. The neck, the inlays, everything on this guitar is far better, okay, as far as the neck, than Linnell's Gem and the Gem that I looked at for searching for tone. This neck really needs nothing. It really doesn't. The fretwork is spot on. Am I going to do something with it? Yeah, I'm going to make it a little better. But at this price point, you couldn't ask for better. There's no sharp frets. There's a nice chamfer, a nice roll on the fret. They have a nice smooth feel to them. The inlays don't have any. I mean, it's good inlay work. I don't see any filler. This is a far better neck than the gym out of the box. You don't need to do anything to this thing. You might want to put some oil on the neck if you're big into oil in your neck, but there's nothing wrong with this neck. We didn't have any problems with the nut. I didn't hear any of the strings pop. You can tell that it was still in tune when we left. These are brand new strings, guys. So this is the first time the instrument's been really played. That being said, I would say it held tune extremely well for a guitar with brand new strings being played for the first time for the, 20 minutes, 30 minutes that we played it. What you saw is what you got. I literally took it out of the box right before the stream. We hung it on the wall to see who would see it last stream. Then we put it back in the box. So that was the first time the guitar was played. All in all, I'd say it's a good guitar. You got to look at the price point. If you guys know the channel, we're about product information here. And the only way to get a true idea, I'm not even going to try to get that strap off. The buttons are huge. This channel is about product information. So I received one guitar. Okay. This one, UPS got us. They dropped the box and they put a chip in the bottom of the guitar. That is not Ibanez's fault. Okay. That's the shipper. What we're looking at is what could Ibanez do to this guitar out of the box to make it better. Ibanez, this action height, I get it. You guys want to be at, 0.075, 0.07 on the high E. This is a little high. You can bring that action down to 0.075, and you're going to be fine whether it goes out to Arizona or it goes to Maine or it goes to Florida. This is a bit high out of the box. That's just my personal opinion. Is it easy to fix? Absolutely, it is. All you have to do is take a little tension off the strings, put a screwdriver here, and lower this down. Okay? Is that going to change the intonation? Maybe a little bit. That reminds me, guys. Let's do a check on the intonation. We do like to be thorough here. That was something that we missed. I do this on purpose. That way everyone has to watch 100% of the review. So there's our E. E on the 12th. Falling off just a little bit, just a fraction flat. Tuner A. A on the 12th. That one is definitely on the flat side. Let's look at our D. D on the 12th. Okay, just a fraction flat. There's our G. G on the 12th. Let's say that's spot on. This is a very, very accurate tuner, guys. So if you're checking intonation with a clip-on tuner, you're not getting a really good read. There's our B. Let's give it a little bit more of a turn. That's really close, just a fraction sharp.
Kurt said intonation at first fret.
First fretted note. So it looks like our A string is our subject string that they missed. So let's check our first fretted note. There's our E. There's our F, just a fraction sharp. It's actually pretty good. There's our A. That one's really good. There's our D. D sharp's just a fraction sharp. G sharp's, that one's a little sharp. So just a B. C sharp's just a fraction sharp. There's our E. That's actually really good. It's just this one, the D. We're a little sharp there. Hold on. That's what I was saying on the gear ratio. I like a 20-to-1 for that reason right there. I moved it just a fraction too much. So it's just fraction sharp. You could see the difference in rotation. So our G is just a little. You could cut the nut just a little bit more down and get that more in tune with the rest of them. But in reality, that's not horrible from out of the box. It's not bad at all. I've seen far worse. But this one's pretty good. And if you think your guitar is perfect, you're lying to yourself. Pick a string. Here's our open E. There's our first fretted note. Second, third. I'm just going to go down the neck. So what a lot of people do, okay, not everyone, when they set their intonation, they'll do the open, and they go right to the 12th and set it perfect. Some people don't care about the 12th. If they do a lot of playing up here, they want to get as many. Let's see how many flat notes. That one's sharp, sharp, flat, flat, sharp, flat, 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 flat. So a lot of people would take the 12th and they would sharpen it. Why? Because they'd want the same amount of flat notes versus sharp notes to the string. Is that the correct way of doing it? It depends how the other musicians in your band are doing it, if that makes sense. I'm not going to say one way is better than the other. I used to do an average, okay? If you're playing all leads and you're playing leads most of the time, you might want to set to where your noting down here is more accurate. Your intonation changes by how hard you strike it, if that makes sense. I can deliberately make this go flat and sharp. I'm trying to use even pressure. See, that's flat. And if I push real hard, I can get it to go sharp. So you want to set the intonation up to your playing style, if that makes sense. But all in all, I'd say, other than the A string, it's set up pretty well as far as the intonation. The only thing I see from the factory is the action height is a little high. Other than that, at $450, this is a heck of a guitar. I'm not seeing any damage in any of the screws when it was assembled. The chrome hardware looks nice on it. Like I said, for a box switch, this switch, I mean, I said it felt nice before I realized it was a box switch. I'm highly impressed this box switch feels this good. And we do have hung pots. Now, they are the dime size pots, but you've got a quality name brand pot in it. It's got a nice output jack that we looked at. The tuners feel smooth. I think it's a great guitar. That's my opinion. I don't see any issues with it. It's a shame that UPS got us on the back and dropped the guitar and put a crack in the finish. That's a shame. But that's the only thing I really see, guys. That's as honest as I can be. We looked at pickup readings. We got weight. If you can think of something else that I can add to these reviews that would be better or beneficial to the people that are watching it, please post.
What's wrong with digital clip-on tuners?
There's nothing wrong with them for tuning your guitar to play out live or something like that, but to set your intonation, it's not near accurate enough. You need a strobe tuner. Just get yourself a Peterson strobe tuner and call it done. We've got a clip-on tuner right here. But I would never take someone's guitar and put this clip-on tuner on it. I don't know, is it charged? I would never sit here and do that. Well, let's check our 12. Okay, here's our A. Now it's saying the A is perfect, but the strobe tuner is showing off. That's the issue. The strobe tuner is just very, very, very accurate. This is a good clip-on tuner. This was not a cheapie. This isn't an $8. This is a Diodario one. So we spent the extra money and got a really, really nice one. I don't expect this clip-on to be near as accurate as that. I'm actually surprised it read that close. But if you have one of these, don't set your intonation with it. You know, try to find somebody that does have a strobe tuner, and you'll get a feel for how hard you're pressing. With this, you might be able to, but you'll get more of a sense of what the guitar is doing and how it responds when you move the saddle with an accurate tuner. If that makes sense, guys. And I'm not putting these down. We have one. For just sitting here and playing and carrying on, this is all you need. It's close enough. But if you're setting up a guitar, you need something dead perfect. Because let's say somebody grabs this guitar and their clip-on tuner's a little sharp on the setting. And this guy's is a little flat on the setting. You need a tuner that's right. Because if they put their clip-on tuner, if they're a little flat or a little sharp, it needs to be in that ballpark. Does that kind of make sense? These are gonna have more. Now they're not all gonna read exactly the same. Where Peterson, they're made to a standard, but you pay for it. I think this was like $30 for this one. This is a pretty expensive one, so I can buy. That's a $200 tuner. So I can buy 7 of these for the price of that. If you're not setting up guitars, this is all you need. If you're setting up guitars, do yourself a favor. This is $200. That's cheap. If you're doing it professionally, do yourself a favor and buy the Peterson bench mount one. They're like $1,400. And before you say that's too much, then don't tune pianos, because the Peterson piano one is like $7,000.
Did you measure the frets to see what they meant by medium?
Ooh. You guys are spot on, aren't you? See, you got to watch the whole review or you miss something. So they're saying medium. We have a fret height of 1.28, which I think is pretty consistent to the medium jumbo fret that we saw in the Leo James, but they're just calling this a medium.
And the width.
And our width, .69. So that's a nice wide fret. That's a decent fret. I don't mind the fret. The fret doesn't seem small. I forget what guitar I just looked at. The frets looked really, really small on it. I don't remember what guitar we were reviewing. I'm working on some different things. There's one coming up. It's got really narrow frets, and it shocked me that the frets were that narrow. This is what I would expect on this guitar. They're not so beefy that if you overplay it, you're going to knock this guitar way out of tune. But they're not so thin where you can't dig in and get some bite. I think I proved that. You can dig in this guitar. It's going to give you some harmonics. It's, in my opinion, it's the perfect fret, okay, for this guitar. It really is. If you're more of a big jumbo guy, you're like a big, fat, tall fret, This isn't that. This is a nice medium jumbo fret, even though they're not calling it jumbo. 1.28, that's a decent size height fret. It's perfect. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, guys, if you haven't, please go down, hit the subscribe button. We try to do the most honest, here it is type reviews on YouTube. I try to play a little bit of everything on the guitar, and I apologize. I did not have time to learn a Kiss song. We used to play a couple Kiss songs, but that was 30 years ago. And if I heard the song, I could probably play a couple measures of it. But I didn't have time before the stream to at least go back and listen to a couple. So I apologize. I know you guys wanted to hear some Kiss on it. But I did try to play a couple different things on it, to listen to it in clean, crunch, and distortion. Hopefully, you guys can give me some pointers. We're trying to become better. That's what it's about. Hopefully, you can tell there's a different audio difference tonight. We've got rid of a lot of noise that we had in the last two streams. Baby steps. The next thing this channel will be doing is upgrading its video, because we are really struggling with our video cameras. We've already had one go down again tonight. So we're on our backup camera. So if you don't know, Super Chats is what funds this channel. No guitar company sends me anything because they don't want you looking at the electronics. They don't want you putting a fret rocker on things. They don't want you looking at the routing or the missteps on the sides. So you guys fund the channel. You really do. YouTube pays me about $30 a month in ad revenue because I don't run mid-rolls. And I usually don't turn monetization on, monetizing a video, until it's a week old. And we do a lot of live. So that really kills me on ad revenue. So you guys, I depend on you guys. And great subscribers and members and Devastator. He's more than a member. He's one of our guardians. Okay, he also runs the Discord channel. He's the head cook and bottle washer over there. He keeps that running really smooth. He sent this guitar in for review. All kinds of people do that for this channel. I can't thank you all enough. People donate guitars for giveaways. We get just so much stuff. You guys are great. I couldn't do it without you, especially the live shows. So please leave me some comments. Anything that you can think of that can make the channel better, that's what we need to do, and that's what I'll start concentrating on. Again, thanks, guys, and I'll see everyone either tomorrow night or Saturday night. Again, leave me some comments, and we're going to hit our 5-minute ending window. If you're not familiar, we do 5 minutes at the end. Everyone can say goodbye or leave comments on what I need to do to improve the channel. Thank you so much, everyone.